CJ, you ever have a weird brain hiccup? We walk into a room, someone says something. For a split second, you're absolutely sure you've already done that exact same thing before. Same words, same smells. Like you accidentally hit the universe's replay button.
In this hypothetical, am I wearing pants?
Well, I don't see how that's relevant, but according to quantum theory, yes and no until someone observes you.
Great. So my dignity exists in superposition too. Missing and really missing.
Have we had this conversation before?
We have. You asked the same question, I gave you the same answer, you look confused, and here we are,
Including the pants?
including the pants.
Weird. Yes, I'm referring to deja vu, that eerie sensation that you've lived this exact moment before, that uncanny feeling that reality just repeated itself.
Yes, it's a thing. It's also a well understood neurological phenomenon where your brain accidentally files a new memory as an old one. Next topic, please.
Really? What if I told you that deja vu isn't a glitch at all? What if those moments are your consciousness briefly perceiving parallel timelines bleeding through quantum superposition barriers?
I'd say you've been watching way too much Doctor Who again.
Ha! You can never watch too much Who. So many doctors to choose from. Watching Doctor Who is like playing Clue with the Cybermen, the Daleks, and the Master. And the answer is always the Doctor in the TARDIS with the sonic screwdriver.
Actually, sometimes the answer is the companion in a parallel dimension with emotional trauma. The doctor just gets the credit.
Well, let's put credit where credit's due. He's Chunder Joe.
He's not.
And this is Chunderstruck Media. And on today's episode, we're going deep.
Inception deep.
4 layers, Inception deep.
Down into the limbo. We are so messed up, you can't tell dream from reality.
Where you're just spelunking around some rich dude's subconscious with some of your best chum buddies, trying to plant that seed, and the dead wife shows, and things are about to get a little, how should I put it? Spicy. Yeah, spicy. Let's go. CJ, favor us with your most vivid deja vu experience.
Oh, we're doing this?
Oh, we're doing this.
Fine. I was at a coffee shop the other day, standing in line, waiting to get my morning brew on. There's a dude in front of me at the counter, but he can't make up his mind. So then all of a sudden, this feeling just comes over me. Like I've been there before. Exact same guy, exact same situation, and I know exactly what he's going to ask for. And then it happened. Exactly as I'd seen it in my mind. I listen as this nunchuck in front of me pulls the trigger on the order and asks the barista for a venti Tai Chi latte. Barista doesn't miss a beat, asks, "Do you want it strong enough to knock your third eye open?"
You're talking about me, aren't you?
Damn straight. 4 times in a row you ordered the Karma Cup of Joe. It's a chai tea latte, for heaven's sake.
Fine. Okay. That's not exactly deja vu.
No, that's deja you. Groundhog Day all over again.
All right, fine. I'll mobile order in the future. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. You agree deja vu is real.
I agree that our brains can get confused and new memories are mistakenly perceived as old memories.
Okay. Well, according to studies, about 60 to 80% of people experience deja vu at least once in their lives. Some people experience it regularly. And the really interesting part, the experience is remarkably consistent across cultures, languages, and time periods.
Shocker. We all have brains and they all work in similar ways across people, places, and times.
Really? Or is it a universal consciousness phenomenon that transcends individual neural architecture?
Individual neural architecture? Sounds like a TED talk on an interior brain design that no one asked for.
Well, if there ever was a TED Talk, it would have included these descriptions from a number of studies on the subject. From Colorado State, Subject 1, I felt like I was watching myself outside my body, knowing exactly what was about to happen. Subject 2, time seemed to slow down and speed up simultaneously. Subject 3, I felt certain I've lived this moment before, but also that something was slightly wrong.
Subject 4, I definitely felt something, but it might have just been regret about volunteering for a university study.
Now, here's what's really interesting. When researchers put people experiencing deja vu into MRI machines, they found something unexpected. The areas of the brain lighting up weren't just memory centers. They were also activating regions associated with decision making, pattern recognition, and get this, temporal processing.
Temporal processing? As in, like, time perception?
Yes, sir. Your brain isn't just confused about whether you've experienced something before, it's actively processing multiple timelines simultaneously. Check out these brain scans from the study. This is a normal brain scan processing a new experience. And this is a brain scan during a deja vu episode. See those additional activation patterns in the precuneus and frontal cortex?
I mean, I see a colorful blob. I'm not a neurologist, though. I only play one on TV.
Those colorful blobs represent your brain attempting to reconcile conflicting temporal information. It's like your consciousness is briefly receiving a broadcast from two sources at once, this timeline and another one.
Or, and hear me out, it's like your brain is experiencing a normal, well documented memory processing error that happens when the hippocampus and the neocortex get the wires crossed.
Huh. So much for only being a TV neurologist. And, anyways, that's what big neuroscience wants you to believe.
Big neuroscience? We have a big neuroscience now?
Stay with me because the science gets even weirder. CJ, what do you know about quantum superpositions?
Well, as I learned earlier, it apparently has something to do with my pants. But I feel like you're going to explain to me whether I want you to or not.
Damn right I am. If not for you, then for the audience playing at home.
Ah, yes, the millions and millions.
In quantum mechanics, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until they're observed. Schrodinger's cat, alive and dead at the same time until someone opens the box. This isn't philosophy, it's proven, repeatable science.
Okay, I'll give you that. Quantum weirdness is real at the particle level, but humans aren't particles. We're made of trillions of atoms behaving according to classical physics.
Are we, though? What if consciousness itself is a quantum phenomenon? What if the very act of being aware operates at the quantum level, allowing our consciousness to exist in multiple states, multiple timelines simultaneously?
Now, who's playing a scientist on TV? That's a pretty big what if to build a theory on.
Is it? Some of the most brilliant physicists alive are exploring exactly this idea. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff's orchestrated objective reduction theory suggests that consciousness arises from quantum computations in brain microtubules. Matthew Fisher at UC Santa Barbara is researching quantum cognition. These aren't fringe scientists, they're respected researchers.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me remind you that we here at Chunderstruck Media wholeheartedly support fringe scientists and would never imply anything negatively about them. Now that that's been cleared up, this orchestrated objective reduction is cute. But I mean, come on, Dr. Pepper's carbonated consciousness cascade model shows that fizzy drinks create microscopic pressure differentials in the blood-brain barrier. I think I'm remembering that right. They allow the ions to quantum tunnel directly into neurons, getting the experience of time speeding up.
Soda gives you a sugar high?
Correct. But even if consciousness has quantum properties, how does that connect to deja vu and parallel universe?
Because of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Every time a quantum measurement is made, the universe splits into multiple branches, one for each possible outcome. Right now, there are infinite versions of you across infinite timelines making slightly different choices.
Sure, that's one interpretation of quantum mechanics. It's not proven, it's theoretical.
But if it's true, there are infinite parallel versions of you. Then what happens when those timelines get too close to each other? In quantum mechanics, when two wave functions overlap, you get interference patterns, constructive and destructive interference. What if consciousness works the same way?
So you're saying our consciousness can interfere with parallel timeline versions of ourselves?
Well, when two extremely similar timelines run parallel to each other, when parallel universe CJ also went to that coffee shop at the exact same time, had the almost identical experience, the consciousness wave functions overlap for just a moment. Your brain is processing sensory data from both timelines. Voila, deja vu.
I'll admit, that's actually a kind of a cool idea. Completely unprovable and probably wrong, but it's cool.
Unprovable. That sounds like a double dog dare. What if I told you there's evidence?
I mean, I'd be skeptical, but if you're willing to stick your tongue to that proverbial frosty pole, then I'm all ears.
Well, you do have pretty big ears. Let's talk about the characteristics of deja vu that the standard neurological explanation struggles to account for. First, specificity. People don't just feel vaguely familiar with a situation, they report knowing exactly what's about to happen next. What someone will say, where they'll move, what sound will occur.
That's just pattern recognition. Your brain sees similar patterns and it predicts outcomes.
On the surface, however, there are documented cases of people experiencing deja vu and accurately predicting events that couldn't possibly be pattern based. A woman in Japan correctly predicted that a stranger would walk in wearing a specific unusual outfit. A man in Brazil knew that an earthquake would hit exactly 7 seconds before it did in a region with no seismic activity.
That's just anecdotal reports based on coincidence. No different than winning the lottery or getting struck by lightning. You could predict the world will end on a particular date. You probably won't get it right. You probably will get it right. Once.
There is a study from the University of Leeds where they attempted to induce deja vu in controlled conditions using hypnosis. They succeeded, but here's the weird part. When the subjects were in induced deja vu states and asked to predict what would happen next in the experiment, the accuracy rate was 61% above statistical chance.
Okay, that's interesting. But couldn't that be explained by subtle cues or picking up on unconsciously?
Well, that's what the researchers thought. So they ran a follow up study using a completely randomized computer generated events that couldn't possibly have cues. The above chance prediction rate persisted. The subjects were somehow accessing information they shouldn't have had,
That seems like something that would have made bigger news if it were true.
unless it was quietly buried because it challenged too many fundamental assumptions about consciousness and reality. Let's move on to temporal anomalies. Multiple studies have shown that during deja vu experiences, people's perception of time becomes unstable.
Unstable how?
In one study, subjects consistently report that time seems to slow down, speed up, or feel layered during deja vu episodes. When asked to estimate how long the experience lasted, subject estimates varied from 2 seconds to 45 seconds for the same objectively measured 8-second period.
That's just subjective time perception. It happens with lots of intense experiences.
Does it though? The same study tested other intense experiences, fear responses, surprise, excitement, and found stable time perception. Only deja vu produced the extreme temporal distortions. It's like during deja vu, the brain's internal clock stops functioning normally.
Or it's just confused because it's processing conflicting memory signals.
Or is confused because it's simultaneously processing two timelines with slightly different temporal coordinates. Consider this. In relativity, time is relative to the observer. If your consciousness is briefly straddling two parallel universes with slightly different temporal flows, your time perception would naturally become unstable.
Whoa, you're mixing quantum mechanics and relativity. Those two things don't always play nice together. It's like straddling two horses going in opposite directions. It looks impressive until everything tears apart in a really uncomfortable way.
Not in our current physics, but maybe consciousness exists at the intersection where they do play nice. And speaking of physics, let's talk about geographic clustering.
Geographic clustering.
Researchers have found that certain locations have significantly higher rates of reported deja vu experiences. Ancient temples, certain geological formations, areas with unusual electromagnetic properties. One study found a 340% increase in deja vu reports in areas with high quartz crystal content in bedrock.
Okay, now you're losing me again. Crystals?
No crystals in the hippie sense. Quartz is piezoelectric. It converts mechanical stress into electrical signals. What if certain geological formations create natural quantum interference patterns that make the barrier between parallel timelines more permeable?
That's a lot of speculation built on correlation.
Or is it a testable hypothesis? Because researchers in Iceland, a country with unusual geology, found that subjects in certain locations could reliably reproduce deja vu experiences. They'd walk into specific spots and boom, instant deja vu every time.
Okay, that's admittedly weird, but weird doesn't equal parallel universes.
What if I told you about the experiments that deliberately tried to create dimensional leaks?
And I'd say I hope he had some universal bonding strip to help seal those leaks before Dormammu enters from a dark dimension.
Are you familiar with the work of Dr. Elena Kowalski at the Berkshire Institute of Advanced Physics?
No, but I'm familiar with the work of Dr. Bunsen Honeydew at Muppet Labs.
Dr. Kowalski is a quantum physicist who became fascinated with consciousness studies after experiencing profound deja vu during a particle accelerator experiment. She spent 7 years researching the quantum mechanics of consciousness.
And let me guess, she proved parallel universes exist and deja vu is dimensional bleeding?
Not exactly, but she built something remarkable, a quantum entanglement chamber designed to create interference patterns in what she calls the consciousness fields. Essentially, it's a device that attempts to make two nearly identical quantum states interact.
This has all the makings of an origin story for the next C-lister supervillain. How about Misremember? No, 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 no. The Deja Voodoo Lady. Huh? Huh? So, what happened when she turned it on?
Okay. Everyone in the facility experienced simultaneous deja vu, all 47 people, at exactly the same moment for exactly 12 seconds.
Seriously?
The experiment was repeated 13 times with the same result. When the quantum interference pattern reached a specific threshold, everyone within a 20-meter radius experienced deja vu. The effect was consistent, reproducible, and completely unprecedented.
Okay, that's actually pretty compelling. What was the scientific community's response?
Well, the project's funding was pulled. Dr. Kowalski's tenure was quietly not renewed. The papers were published in a low tier journal that most scientists ignore. And now she works as a private consultant for a tech company that isn't doing consciousness research.
Well, I mean, you know I love me some low-tier journalism, but that sounds like you're implying there was some kind of suppression of her work.
I'm not implying anything. I'm saying that research which challenges fundamental assumptions about consciousness tends to have difficulties securing funding, regardless of the results. But here's the really interesting part. Three other independent research teams attempted to replicate her findings.
And
Two succeeded, one in Japan, one in Germany. Both reproduced the effect for 2 minutes, but lost their funding shortly after publishing preliminary results.
2 minutes of deja vu? What happened with the third team?
Oh, the Swiss team, they mysteriously vanished in a blinding flash of light, never to be seen again. The only evidence of their existence was half a dark chocolate Toblerone.
Seriously? Half a Toblerone? You're saying the Swiss scientists were sacrificed for science?
I can't say. CERN really wasn't big on publicizing that during an allegedly controlled quantum experiments with their multi-billion-dollar particle accelerator, someone had chocolate in the room. You will recall, CERN suddenly shut down their Hadron Collider for years while they completed important system upgrades without providing any explanation of why.
So you're saying CERN had a concern in loose?
More like the Swiss throwing fits in St. Moritz.
But seriously, you're saying that they shut down because of a bar of Swiss chocolate?
Half a bar of triangular shaped Swiss chocolate.
I'm finding this hard to believe.
Really? What is CERN's new primary mission?
All efforts are focused on finding dark matter?
Yeah, hello. Dark matter, euphemism for missing half of dark chocolate Toblerone bar. That's what CERN is searching the multiverse for.
Let's get back on track here. Tell me more about the German and Japanese teams.
They reportedly found the deja vu experience profoundly disorienting. The subjects reported time seemed to fold in on itself. I could see multiple versions of the same moment layering over each other like transparent film. I knew what everyone would say before they said it, but I also felt like I was discovering it for the first time.
That sounds pretty disturbing.
It sounds like someone whose consciousness was fully straddling two timelines for an extended period. But the German team made another discovery. During these extended deja vu states, subjects' brain activity showed quantum coherence patterns similar to what you'd see in entangled particles.
Quantum coherence in the brain? That's supposed to be impossible at biological temperatures.
That's one group of thought, but the data doesn't lie. During deja vu, certain neural structures exhibited quantum effects that shouldn't be possible in a warm, wet, noisy biological system. It's like the consciousness temporarily operates outside normal thermodynamic constraints.
So you're saying deja vu temporarily turns our brains into quantum computers? Rowan always said quantum computers were the key to the multiverse.
And saying deja vu might be evidence that consciousness was always quantum. We just didn't have the equipment to measure it until now. And here's where it really gets wild.
Oh, good. Biologically wet and wild. Can't wait.
If deja vu is really dimensional bleeding, if our consciousness genuinely touches parallel timelines, the implications are staggering.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but go on.
Well, first, it means the many worlds interpretation is correct. Every choice, every quantum measurement creates new branches of reality, and those branches aren't completely separate. They can interfere with each other under the right conditions.
Okay, that's one interpretation of the data, a wild interpretation, but I'll allow it.
Second, it means that consciousness isn't produced by the brain, it's filtered through the brain. Your awareness exists across multiple timelines simultaneously, but your brain normally only lets you perceive one. Deja vu is when that filter temporarily fails.
That's a huge philosophical leap.
Is it? Think about all the other phenomena this would explain. Premonitions, you're accessing information from nearby timelines that are slightly ahead of your current one. Intuition, your quantum consciousness detecting patterns across multiple probable futures. The Mandela effect, mass deja vu, where large groups of people remember different timelines.
The Mandela effect is just false memories and the internet amplifying confirmation bias.
Or is it evidence of timeline merging? There are documented cases of thousands of people sharing identical false memories of events that allegedly never happened, all remembering the same specific details. That's not individual memory error. That's collective memory of a different timeline.
Or it's just how human memory works. We're all susceptible to the same false memory patterns.
Seriously, we all have a mass global brain fart on the Berenstein Bears?
Berenstain Bears. And the Monopoly guy never had a monocle. But I'll be damned if there was no cornucopia on my undies.
Okay, back to your tidy whities again. Then riddle me this. A study at Northwestern University found that people who frequently experience deja vu are significantly better at predicting random number sequences than the general population. Not by huge amounts, about 8% above chance, but consistently across multiple trials.
8%? That's barely above statistical noise.
Barely above chance in predicting truly random events. That shouldn't be possible at all, unless those numbers are truly random from a multiversal perspective. If you can briefly access nearby timelines where the numbers have already been assigned, then you have a slight edge in prediction.
Okay, that is kind of thought provoking, but it's still circumstantial.
Okay, so what about this? Several mediation practitioners and people trained in lucid dreaming report being able to induce deja vu experiences at will. They describe it as tuning into parallel timelines and claim they can sometimes steer which timelines they're perceiving.
That sounds like the combined effect of too much incense and peppermints. It's at best wishful thinking and confirmation bias.
Let's talk about Dr. Sarah Chen, a neuroscientist who practices advanced meditation. She agreed to be monitored in an MRI while attempting to induce deja vu. What do you think her brain activity showed?
I don't know, Wile E. Coyote running off a cliff, looking down and having that I've done this before moment.
No, the same quantum coherence patterns that appeared spontaneously during natural deja vu. She's reproducing them voluntarily.
Okay, that's impressive. But couldn't meditation just trigger the same brain stresses that cause deja vu naturally?
It could, or meditation could be a technique for deliberately accessing the quantum substrate of consciousness. And here's the really crazy part. Dr. Chen claims that with practice, she can not only induce the deja vu state, but actually retrieve specific information from parallel timelines.
Information like what?
Like what route to take during work to avoid an accident, which investment to make, which conversation to avoid. She keeps detailed journals of her predictions versus outcomes. Her accuracy rate is impressive.
How impressive.
73% accuracy on specific verifiable predictions over a 2-year period.
That's actually statistically significant. That's not chance.
It's not community chest either. It suggests she's genuinely accessing information she shouldn't have. Information from timelines where events have already unfolded.
Or she's really good at reading cell cues and making educated guesses.
For 2 years? With 70% accuracy on specific events, the odds of that are astronomical.
But with that prediction rate, how many times has she won the lotto?
Oh, come on. With great power comes great responsibility. Using her powers to win the lottery would be.
The most reasonable way to prove that you could predict the future? But I digress.
Okay, well, let's bring this back to the personal level. If this theory is correct, if deja vu is really your consciousness touching parallel timelines, what does that mean for you as an individual?
I'm guessing you're about to tell me something that will make me question my entire existence.
Think about it. Every major decision you've ever made, every choice that seemed to matter, there's a version of you that made that opposite choice, a version that took the other job, dated the other person, moved to a different city.
That's the basic premise of the many worlds theory, yeah?
Right? But what if consciousness can leak between timelines? Then those other versions of you aren't completely separate. During deja vu, you might be briefly experiencing echoes of their lives, their choices, their outcomes.
So what? Deja vu is like getting a sneak peek into the road not taken?
More like getting a glimpse of the roads you are taking, just in different timelines. And here's the profound implication. If you can perceive parallel timelines, even briefly, might you be able to influence them, or might they influence you?
Ooh, now you're getting philosophical.
Am I, or am I being practical? Think about intuition, gut feelings, those moments where you just know something without knowing why. What if this is information bleeding through from timelines where you've already experienced the outcomes?
That's actually kind of reassuring in a weird way, like having a safety net across multiple realities.
Or terrifying, depending on how you look at it, because if timelines can influence each other and every version of you is potentially affecting every other version, your choices ripple across the multiverse. In quantum mechanics, entangled particles affect each other instantaneously, regardless of distance. What if entangled consciousness works the same way?
You're saying all versions of me are entangled with each other?
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds gross. What I'm saying is that what consciousness is fundamentally is a quantum phenomenon that exists across all possible timelines simultaneously, with deja vu being those moments when you briefly perceive the broader existence.
That's that's actually a beautiful thought. Terrifying, but beautiful.
And it means that identity itself might be more fluid than we think. Some philosophers and physicists are now arguing that the self isn't located in a single timeline, it's distributed across the multiverse. You're not a single consciousness having a linear experience, you're a multiversal consciousness having infinite experiences with your brain, acting as a filter that creates the illusion of a single linear narrative.
So every time I experience deja vu, I'm essentially remembering something that's happening to me in another universe?
Potentially. Or you're briefly becoming aware of the broader multiversal you that exists across all timelines. The you that has made every possible choice, lived every possible life.
Oh, this is giving me a cosmic hangover. Do you know what that means?
Yes, your cosmic self is drunk.
No, my cosmic self was drunk.
Yesterday. That might be the effects of a dimensional brain leak.
Great, a multiversal aneurysm.
So there you have it, Chunderfolk, the deja vu dimensional leak theory. Not just a quirky brain glitch, but potential evidence that consciousness exists across multiple timelines, with deja vu representing the moments when the barriers between those timelines become thin enough for information to leak through.
I'll admit, this is a compelling theory. The quantum mechanics are at least plausible, the research cited seems legitimate, and the implications are fascinating to think about.
Does this mean you're convinced?
Well, if you believe the many worlds theory, I'm sure I'm convinced and unconvinced and all states of convincedness in between.
The point is, the next time you experience deja vu, don't just brush it off as a brain hiccup. Pay attention. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Are you getting information you shouldn't have?
And maybe keep a journal. Track your deja vu experiences. What happened, whether you felt like you could predict what came next. If the theory is right, you might be able to train yourself to access information from parallel timelines.
Consciousness might be far more flexible and multidimensional than we've been taught to believe. And deja vu might be the key to understanding all that.
Don't forget to subscribe to Chunderstruck Media for more investigations into the hidden nature of reality.
Until next time, keep questioning reality, keep paying attention to those strange moments, and remember, in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, everything that can happen does happen.
So my dignity exists in super status. Great. So my dignity exists in superposition too. Missing and really lit. And then it happens, exactly as it seemed in my head. I listen as the nunchuck finally pulls the trigger on the order and asks the barista for a venti Tai Chi latte. Barista doesn't miss a beat though. Asks, do you want it strong enough to knock a hole through your third eye?
Knock a hole through your third eye, that's not what it said.
I was reading that, but I read it.
Knock a hole through your third eye.
Strong enough to knock the third eye.
Very aggressive.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
The whoa, whoa, whoa.
I know, I just said so.
Whoa,